Who is the worst kind of person to be sat next to on a long flight? I'd take a big person over a smelly person. Nothing is worse than someone who smells like ass and you're trapped. Total violation of the senses. Smelly person. I mean, I don't think there's anything you can do about it while on the plane. Someone who is hell-bent on chatting when your whole demeanor screams, "Leave me alone." A sick person. Definitely someone who talks non-stop or takes up all the armrest space. An older woman wearing the most foul-smelling perfume my nose has smelled. It was a 9-hour flight. I felt like throwing up from my headache a few hours in. Look, this isn't the worst per se. But until this happened, it wasn't even something I would have considered before. On a long flight, AKLLAX. I was sitting at the back of a 777 on the side, so there were only 2 seats. The guy next to me was a very pleasant and interesting Brit. We talked for a while. He explained that, at that time, it was cheaper to fly to the Caribbean, buy a boat, and then sail it back to NZ than it was to just buy it there. So that's what he was doing. But, as you'd expect on a 14+ hour flight, eventually the lights dim and nearly everyone sleeps. Here's my problem with this guy. That I liked up to that point. He was a snuggler. I woke up 3 times during that flight with him dead asleep on my shoulder and snuggling with my arm. His hand in my armpit. The fact that he was a heavy sleeper. I pushed him off me all 3 times and it didn't even seem to impact his sleep in the least. Probably made things even worse for me. At the end of the flight his attitude and demeanor hadn't changed in the least. So I sincerely doubt he even knew what he'd done. People who don't wear headphones. I recently sat by a girl who kept blowing her snotty nose into her fingers. There was a guy on one of the travel Reddits arguing that if his leg space is a little too small, because of the way the row in front of him's seat legs are bolted to the floor, he should be able to put his feet on the other side of those seat legs, in his neighbor's foot space. So probably that guy. My mother. She will talk your ear off. Get your phone number and try to meet up you in the future when you've long forgotten about her. A child with unattentive parents. Terrorists. A tall person with really long legs. I realize it's not their fault, but I don't like being touched and having to sit through a flight with someone's knees pressed against mine is not fun. I was flying back home from a work conference in Denver once. I had a hangover from socializing the night before, but was otherwise in a good mood. The plane was delayed, and while waiting at the gate the lady next to me struck up a conversation. She was wearing a cat cardigan, cat paw print leggings, a cat backpack, and cat earrings, and she was carrying a book about cats. She told me she'd been in Denver for a cat show. Who knew that was a thing? She was nice enough, but definitely eccentric, and would not stop talking. Eventually we were allowed to board, and she sat right next to me. On boarding she picked up a carry crate containing her cat, which she slid under her seat. I was not aware you could do this. Again, who knew? She tried to keep talking incessantly about cats, and normally I'd be polite and at least half listen and nod. But my hangover was getting worse, so after 30 minutes or so I put my headphones in and proceeded to ignore her. Soon after we hit some turbulence. Her poor show cat, whose name I've since forgotten, peed everywhere. The smell of cat urine pushed my hangover into migraine territory, prompting a visit to the airplane toilet to vomit. The cat proceeded to meow and wail the duration of the flight. Definitely my worst flight experience. The guy who chugs 2 drinks and then sleeps, snoring loudly for the entire flight. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. The person who wants to clip their toenails at the most inconvenient times. Sat next to a woman who coughed the entire flight and wouldn't wear a mask. 3 days later, I get COVID. From Hawaii to LA, I sat next to a guy wearing a small tank top and shorts who had clearly wiped out on a skateboard the previous day. Body was covered in road rash that was oozing the entire time. He just picked at all his wounds, scabs, oozed the entire flight. Someone who wants to share their religion.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.